I know I need to size up with you, and when I defang the Viper, trust me, ain't gonna come from nowhere. Jeff, I already put you out. I don't even know why you're out here right now. Keep on talking. Hey, do me a favor. Why don't you act like this is an AA meeting and you shut your mouth while I'm sharing with the group? And Mustafa, you out here, a boy among men. And I'm gonna tell you what, you got lucky at the Rumble, so I know you're gonna come out here and run your mouth about how bad you are. But let me give you a little bit of a reality check. You see, Mustafa, you said that my eyes don't lie. Well, your eyes don't lie either, because last week, they were closed real tight when I put your simple ass to sleep. And AJ, hey man, be honest with me. How's our old girl Wendy doing?
Welcome back to the Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. It's me, Hafiz. With me, as always, is Devin, and we have our returning friend, family member, and all that, Jaydee, with us here today. Thank you, Jaydee, for joining us. It's a pleasure. How you doing, first of all? How you doing?
Yeah, welcome back.
I'm doing good, and I'm glad to be back. It's been a crazy 2022. We thought that 2021 and 2020 was crazy, but the wrestling world said, hold your beer and your popcorn, get it ready, because 2022, it's a lot. We only in February at that. We're only in February.
We just getting started.
Barely 2 months in.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, we're not even going to bury the lead here. We're just going to get right into it. So you've heard it by now. If you listen to this podcast, you would have known already, unless, you're living under a rock. Cody Rhodes is no longer with AEW. He leaves AEW. It's not just Cody, it's Brandy as well. So Cody and Brandy have both departed from AEW. Yes. There's been statements released on both sides, from Cody, one from Tony Khan. I guess in AEW maybe a release. I don't know if it was Tony writing it himself, but there's been, the notes put out there, just thanking each other, blah blah blah. The public show respect.
Exactly.
But this is wild. This is wild for so many reasons that we'll talk about here. I mean, before I even go, because I got so much on my mind, and I just love to hear what you guys have to say about this. So, Jaydee, why don't you go first? Just what are your thoughts on just this whole situation? Because like you said, we just started 2022. No one would have predicted. If you'd have told me in 2021, hey, in 2022, prepare yourself, Cody Rhodes of AEW is going to leave AEW, I'd have been like, you're crazy. So
yeah, exactly.
What you think?
I mean, Cody leaving, Stone Cold possibly coming back, Jon Moxley and CM Punk tag teaming it up, and Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson possibly creating the stable and everything, and Adam Cole with everybody that is affiliated with him, all in the same company. It's just a crazy thing. So when the news first broke out, the rumors that he wasn't under contract, I'm like, okay, this is probably for the show and everything like that, make this a storyline. And then, he's dropping little hints about how, he received the contract in the mail and it wasn't the contract that he wanted. But then when they broke the news that he officially left the company, first of all, I'm like, okay, well, allegedly, because, you got to take some of this stuff with a grain of salt. And then once I saw the public releases from Tony Khan and then Brandy as well, because, people still believe that's a work, but I'm like, it can't be, because Brandy was involved in a storyline. And so for her to get pulled from AEW, it's not a work. And so, everybody, thanking each other and, putting on the smiley faces and everything like that. And so now you have to really think, the person who, was so, all in with AEW and stuff like that, and just wanted to create this space for wrestlers is walking away. And so then I started okay, well, why? You helped create this company, you helped put over talent. You became one of the bigger baby faces in wrestling in his career. And, you got your TV shows and you have your community outreach and stuff like that. And you're doing a lot more for the wrestling company, for the wrestling world, than you have ever done in your career. And so you're walking away from it. So I'm like, okay, what's the reason? So my thinking is that it has to do with money, because I'm like, it can't be to work for New Japan or anything like that, because you have that flexibility with AEW. I said it can't be booking wise. I mean, he wants to be the baby face, but unfortunately he's pretty much like Roman Reigns in 2015, like trying to be the baby face, and it's not fitting the character right now. And I'm like, well, I was like, well, it has to be money because, he probably wants to get paid what he feels those worth. But unfortunately, AEW is in a completely different stage now. They got CM Punk, they got Adam Cole, they got Bryan Danielson. They have a lot of top stars that, whereas though you don't have negotiating power, as we see, there's no negotiation power anymore because we just got Keith Lee. People are waiting for Jeff Hardy to come back. People are waiting for Bray Wyatt to come in, and a lot of other people to come to AEW. So now it's like we're now the place that people want to go to, besides WWE. So not a lot of people are going to have a lot of negotiation power. So now that Cody is out of AEW, of course, people are wondering where he's going to go. I mean, the only place it could be is WWE because anywhere else he can work while he's still under contract. And WWE is the only place that you could work where you can't work anywhere else. I'm just curious of how this is going to go. Like, I want every single wrestling journalist to get on to their sources. I want to know the details of this contract. And I can't wait to see. This is going to be the true test of how Cody Rhodes is going to be booked. Because WWE has the first person to go from AEW to WWE. And it's not a wrestler. It's the EVP that is coming over. It is the EVP coming over. So now it's like, and Cody Rhodes has been talking so much crap about WWE over the years. I've seen the BT episodes of him making fun of Triple H. We've seen the promos. We saw the throne smashing and stuff like that.
The entrance.
And
throne smashing.
A lot of throne smashing. a lot of sledgehammers. We saw golden shovels.
Man.
Every week with Cody. So I'm like, dude, like you talk so much crap. Like the person that talked more crap about WWE will probably be CM Punk. Like I don't think there's anyone else besides CM Punk that did that. So I'm like, for you to do all that and you're gonna go back to WWE, and it's like, which Vince McMahon are you gonna get? Are you gonna get the Vince McMahon that's gonna book you like a big star because you have the EVP of AEW, you book him real strong and entice people to jump ship with him? Or are we going to get the Vince McMahon that we have known for so many years? Mr. Petty. And we go back to the star. We go back to the star. Is he going to feud with Austin Theory? Is he going to get the Sting treatment where he goes against Triple H at WrestleMania and it's AEW versus WWE?
Oh, no.
And we have, I don't know, some NXT people that were on AEW Dark, run in or something like that and just make it into that. Because it's not his brother. Dustin came out with statements like, hey, the opinions of my brother is not the opinions of me. I like it here. Right.
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm sacrificing my next child to AEW. So it's like, I'm very interested to see how this is all going to go. And I can't wait. Because it's like, then what happens with Brandy? So is Brandy going to, just stay home with the baby? Is she going to try to go to WWE? Because WWE refused to have her wrestle. It's like, you could be an announcer. And then after a while, they told her, we're not going to have you announcing again. So it's like, where are you going to go? And then on top of that, Cody doesn't have any booking. I'm assume that he's not going to have any creative decisions. So he's not going to be that big baby face that he wants to be. I'm very curious how the WWE fans will respond too. I mean, it's been enough time that there may be some casuals who will not know who he is.
Right.
Because WWE is the bubble. and they completely erased all traces of Cody Rhodes off Peacock. Well, pretty unless you really look for it, but as far as them bringing up Cody Rhodes, you don't know who he is. So I'm like,
Right.
it's very interesting of how he's going to be booked, because there's going to be people that's going to see Cody Rhodes and go like, who the hell is this guy? Who the hell is this guy? Where's Roman Reigns? Where's Brock Lesnar? So it's
Tribal
like
chief.
the funniest thing.
That's not the tribal chief.
What is this?
Who is?
The funniest thing is if
Next-
he comes in and they book him as a heel, because that was the one thing
that he
he
did
did not want to do in AEW. I'm
gonna
like, if
turn
he
heel.
goes in there and they
man.
book him as a heel, like I will tweet at him myself, like, is this worth it? Like, you
Right.
could easily have done this in
Right.
AEW, and you probably would have got what it is that you wanted, because the crowd would have responded to you. And I'm really hoping that he is smart enough to whatever offer, if he was going with WWE, that whatever they offered him is in writing, and that he didn't take this over the phone verbally,
Mm.
because they could easily just say, "Oh, we're not paying you that much," and I'm going to assume that WWE can't afford him because of budget cuts. I mean, how many people they released over the past year due to
Right.
budget cuts? I'm like, that according to your records and your tweets and your rumors, you cannot afford Cody Rhodes. Because if I was one of those people that got released due to budget cuts, I would be completely pissed off that they went and signed Cody Rhodes for obviously going to be a lot of money that he couldn't get in AEW. And so it's like, if he signs, how long is they going to sign him for? Is this going to be, does he have any like bargaining power with this contract? Is he going to be like few matches like Edge and Brock Lesnar? Or if he's going to be wrestling 5 days a week like everyone else? So
Mm.
I'm just ready for it all. I got my popcorn ready. I have a lot of popcorn in the kitchen. I have a lot of popcorn in the kitchen. I got water, wine, everything, and I'm just waiting for this roller coaster to take off, because that's what it is.
This is wild.
How
It
close
is.
This
do
is
you?
wild.
How close are you feeling that he's gonna sign with WWE? Like, if you was to put a percentage on it.
I would say 98%, because I
Mm.
can't think, of anything else he's going to do. Like, because he can't try to like help Ring of Honor, because I'm like, you had that opportunity. Like, if you tried to do New Japan, I mean, you could have done New Japan while using AEW. If you're trying to do Impact, well, you could do that while using, I mean, Kenny Omega wrestled the whole world when he was champion.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I can't think of any other company or anything else he would do, unless he is just stepping away from wrestling completely and just concentrate on his two shows. But I can't see like him, if there was them negotiating his contract, I can't see any company that he could have gone to that he couldn't have done while he was in AEW without it being WWE. And I'm also curious what happens to his shows, because he has two shows on TNT.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And
think
normally
that.
with WWE, they don't
Mm-mm.
allow you to make
Mm-mm.
revenue like that outside the
That's a
company.
good point too. Yeah,
Mhm.
I wasn't even thinking about it from that standpoint. I was just thinking like, hey, I think that the road to the top. I think Tony Khan has like he's one of the
Yeah, he's
producers
one of
of
the
that show.
producers. Yeah.
So that's dead. And then the go big show, like again, you're on another channel, and it's a murky thing, the relationship
Mhm.
that he has with TNT on one side, and with now maybe being in WWE with USA and Fox, like how are they going to feel about that? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And then Vince, like he doesn't even want them to have Twitch channels, let alone have a whole nother show that he has no say in.
Yeah.
He doesn't get his hands on that. Like I have a feeling, this is all speculation on this, but I just feel that it doesn't feel good that he's going to be able to keep those. This whole situation is just wild. I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like, Cody just does not look good in this situation if he does decide to go to WWE. I don't see how he saves face with this. I mean, you
Yeah.
went from, again, touting AEW as the revolution and all the shit you said, about Triple H and WWE in
Yeah.
general.
We're the
And then
change.
you go to that
Exactly.
other company, right? You were trying to be the alternative to that. And
Like-
now you said, oh, you know what? No, I was just kidding. Take me back, please. What is
Hey,
going
guys.
on?
Like,
Yeah, guys,
straight up
hey.
TikTok.
Hey, bro,
Hey,
hey, man. I'm back. What's up? No, bro. Like it just feels off. The money thing is the only way you can kind of make it make sense. But even then, like I don't understand how with what we're saying with the shows, like potentially he might be losing money there. And even with I don't know, just it just blows my. I don't really understand where he's coming from with this whole thing. I mean, okay, so I had to go back, like I said before we started recording. I pulled up this video of him at Jacksonville doing this rally for Double or Nothing. And this kind of maybe shines light on his mindset around the money. He was saying, and I pulled it and I wrote it down. He said, compared to sports stars and professional entertainers of comparable influence, pro wrestlers are always the least paid. At All Elite, we're going to change that. We're going to change the wrestling economy because you can offer someone opportunity, but opportunity doesn't pay the bills. Money does. And happy wrestlers means happy fans, and fans come first. So his whole thing was, one of the big things that he was excited about with AEW, this is what I took from it, was that the money, wrestlers were going to be paid what they're worth. They're going to be paid better than you had been traditionally in the business. And so, that is a big driving force for him from the beginning, when he was in AEW. The landscape changed in AEW, given all the big names, Jaydee, that you had mentioned, that have come into the company now, and more to come that we're anticipating. So I guess from Tony Khan's perspective, like, hey, whatever money increase you were looking to get, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for us to make that work, given everybody that's coming in. But at the same time, like, if you're Cody, like, okay, you want more money, but you see, like, hey, you are afforded an opportunity to make money outside of wrestling. Unlike in that other company, they don't, like I just said, they don't even want you to have Twitch streams. Like, Xavier and what he had been going through with up, down, down. Like, it's just that, do you want to really sacrifice the relationships and the freedoms and the flexibility that you have with AEW for this other place where people are trying to get out of Dodge, in some cases, because they just feel too restricted? I mean, Zelina Vega, and, before she came back, that was, a point of contention too, where she just was like, no, I'm not going to give this up. And I'm not even sure where that kind of stands, because she's in the company, but is she still doing her Twitch? Like, I haven't followed up on that.
She's not.
She's not doing, so she caved in on that.
It's Malachi that does her Twitch.
So he does. Okay. Adam Cole was saying, look, this isn't going to end. So,
yeah.
And we see what happened. He left. He was out. Right. He refused. Yep. So, it's wild to me that you're gonna give up this situation that has been touted as just this, like, wonderful, just alternative to WWE and their way of doing business, and the creative control that you had, and just the way that they put a spotlight on you, like through merch, you have the ability to make some more money through other, just investments and ideas. You can make more money. Like, you have so much at your fingertips that this deal right here with WWE, maybe he's going to work it into the contract that he gets to do some of these things still. Maybe. But it just is contrary to what WWE has let other people do. So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. It just feels like so many things don't make sense. I don't want to say it's a work anymore, because it feels like we're somewhat past that. But it just kind of doesn't make sense. He mentioned the
charities too in this when he was giving his comment, like that Instagram that I saw. He mentioned charities. I'm like, yeah, he ain't working us, because he's not gonna mention charities. That would have been distasteful.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I feel like, I mean, that little nod definitely, makes it that where it's not a work. It's just if I take this at face value and I just say, hey, okay, this is real. I look at Cody and I say, well, I'm sorry, man, but this is just going to look like you just sold out. Like it's just
Yeah.
about the money. It's not about, making a change in wrestling and being the
Mm-hmm.
revolution. This was about you getting paid. And once that
Yeah.
opportunity went away, you just said deuces. Like as an AEW fan, you're going to feel like, wow, this guy, like he wasn't really down for the cause of changing anything. This was just about lining his pockets from the beginning. And
He's looking at it at a business though. So and I gotta look at the other side too. Like, yeah, is he selling out or is he really looking at the body of work that he put in AEW? Like, bro, I'm just not a pillar. I helped build this company. I'm an EVP. I wear different hats. He's just not a wrestler. It would be different if he was just a wrestler and he's asking for a raise. But I can see from that side too, because this is a business. I'm booking some of these matches. Me and Tony, we kind of bounce off each other. So he plays like a higher role in that executive EVP. So he just taking it as for for my value for what I bring to the company so far. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But
And
now
he also builds up other wrestlers too. He had the Nightmare Factory and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people from his crew was brought into AEW. So it's like you're walking away from, becoming that mentor and coach that, was lacking also in WWE as well. Because a lot of wrestlers mention how the atmosphere at AEW, it was about you can go up to anyone and ask questions and get coaching stuff like that. Like Jade Cargill's getting trained by Bryan Danielson,
right.
and I think she also gets help from, I'm not sure if it's Mark Henry or Paul White, but I know it's one of them that's been teaching her how to sell as a big, strong person. And I forgot who else mentioned, like, you can go up to CM Punk and talk to him. You can go up to John Moxley and talk to him. Like, it's not an atmosphere of like, don't talk to me. And so it's just like you guys, it's just confusing for him to walk away from from a community that he has built up to go back to the community that he has talked down about so much. So, you know, it can feel like there is selling out because your whole big thing was creating a space for wrestlers, an alternative for wrestlers, pro wrestling, as they always keep saying, this is pro wrestling, not entertainment. And you help build, pretty much change the lives of a lot of people that we wouldn't have seen in AEW. I mean, look at the debut of Keith Lee in AEW versus, his matches when he came up onto Raw. They told him you're rare on Bearcat at a certain point. So, and you see how he is in that one match in AEW. He was like so confident, he was so over, he was back to his original self and everything, and he seemed happy. A lot of people seemed a lot happier over there than they were when they were in WWE. So I can't wait if he was to give like interviews or anything like that for him to explain
Oh
the
yeah.
thinking
It
about
has to
this.
happen. Yeah.
Like I'm very curious to know what was going through his mind, because I'm like, if it's all about the money, then it's like, then you really have to think, why did you create AEW then? If it's money that really made you walk away from that, then apparently maybe somewhere when you were thinking about building AEW, that you was building it to put yourself over. If
Right.
money really makes you walk away from 3 years of like pretty much creating history, a company that is able to, not really stand toe to toe to WWE, but can stand toe to toe to WWE. That, big stars have left WWE to come to your company. That's something that we haven't seen since WCW,
Now he going
Yep.
back.
Brian
You
Danielson
know,
could have stayed. He could have stayed in WWE.
he loved it
You
there.
know,
Yeah,
but yeah, he
yeah,
loved it. And he still
He
yeah,
talks
loved it.
positively about it, but
yeah.
he chose to leave.
But it could
Exactly.
be some factors we're not seeing because you look at Big Swole incident. Her
Hmm.
situation in AEW was a little bit different, her experience. So we don't know. Like
Yeah,
it's a lot of speculation
it
out
is
Oh,
a
there.
lot of
absolutely,
speculation. This is
Like,
why I
absolutely.
can't
you know
wait
what
for
I'm
this
saying?
But
for
the
them to talk
optics
Yeah,
of
about
it
it.
all, like,
yeah.
from an AEW fan standpoint, I feel like it's gonna feel like, wow, like you left us for that, really?
Hmm.
With knowing the feeling about WWE and just Vince McMahon and the way he is with the wrestlers and not being able to create stars and guys like Keith Lee and the way he was treated and recently Karrion Kross and the way he was booked and all that,
Hmm.
like, and now we have this thing in AEW where wrestling fans, like hardcore wrestling fans who really are into to wrestling and watching indie wrestling and seeing a lot of these guys show up and be able to be themselves, like,
Yep.
this is the place that allows that to happen, and you left this for that.
Yeah,
Like, that's just gonna feel raw to any
it
AEW
is.
fan. It just is,
I want to
It
see it
is.
though.
This
I
and
is
for
want to
why
see
it's
the
him, as a
chaos.
confusing.
person that cares so much about his image, because you want to stay the baby face and you're doing all these
He can't.
things right now with
He
this
can't. He don't have
decision, you
control.
can't.
Yeah, because
Right.
you're
He
right.
won't
The
have
optics
control.
from it, right? Like, bro, you should just come in and just be like, I'm the EVP. That should
He
just be.
should. He should
Yeah.
have at that time. That's what it would have been, right? Like,
Yep.
just own it. Just own it.
Yep.
But he just, he's holding on to this whole, like, oh, like, I want to be this like babyface character, and it's just not what it is. It's not. He's not, like, he's self-aware. I mean, it felt like he was self-aware to the point where maybe he was about to turn heel,
Right.
and he was just kind of like slowly
Yeah,
giving us the
I see that
hints and
time.
tidbits,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then you see this, and it's like, oh, wow, he was serious. Like, he really wanted to stay a babyface. And there's all sorts of rumors and reports, but one is that Tony Khan was frustrated with the fact that he wouldn't just turn heel. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's wild if that's true. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Right.
And to what we're saying now, like, you go to WWE, it will be hilarious if after all this he ends up being booked as a heel.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
And then
just
down the line, he Stardust.
and
know,
then
like,
eventually-
it's
I
gonna
don't give a
be.
damn. It's
That's why.
3 years from now, 5 years from now.
Exactly.
I know the outcome. That fucking Stardust costume. That's
Dude.
that is your
A Royal
your near
Rumble,
future.
him appearing in
Oh
Stardust
my
and Royal Rumble.
God.
Hey, Nick Foley, he come out 3 times, and is dashing Cody
Stardust.
Rhodes and
Fans like,
I don't know.
Cody Rhodes.
he's
I don't
from
know if
Arrow.
it
I
was
get it.
like an
Yeah, from the
ROH
Arrow TV
show or what show it was, but I remember someone like they started chanting Stardust and he flipped off the crowd. Like, he was just like, no, fuck that. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
Stardust.
I think I heard
And
about that.
this is gonna happen, man.
It's gonna
Like,
happen,
hey, you want to get paid, right?
Vince probably, as soon as he walked through the door, Vince probably got the whole costume. I never changed it.
Yeah. He
Still
got
the
that. He
name.
got that somewhere in the byline, small print. Like, yeah, I'm gonna hook you up with all this money. Commercials.
I
Okay, we keep
hope
that.
he has
You
a
keep that
lawyer,
show, but I'm
yo.
getting like 3%. But right here
I
to
hope he has a
Stardust 3
lawyer.
years from now.
That is
Man.
like #1 rule. You better read that fine print of that contract.
Woo.
'Cause
Yeah, get your lawyers
he
involved,
gonna
bro.
put
Just
on page 36 of that 100-page contract, he gonna put in there you have to do at least 6 matches at Stardust. Like,
He's gonna
with the
I-
tribal
Talk to
chief.
you later. Wait a minute.
and you're gonna feud with Austin
Oh,
Theory.
shit.
And you're gonna lose to Austin Theory.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, my thinking is because I was really thinking about it, about the fact that he refused to turn heel, and he mentioned his daughter. Because I was like, your daughter is so young, she's not going to know something like this. But I think it's the fact that he really wants to be like his dad. But the thing is, he was the biggest baby face in AEW. I mean, he was booked, especially when he was going against MJF. Like,
Yeah.
he was over,
Oh,
he was,
yeah.
the biggest
Good
thing
point.
going and stuff. But unfortunately, what I guess he's not understanding is, which he should understand because he's the one who took part of it, the landscape changed. You know,
Mhm.
he's no longer an underdog because now we have other underdogs that's in AEW. And there's a realization like, you have all the power. And so it's not as simple as him going against a heel that will make him, a heel. I mean, we saw with Brandy Rhodes when she was trying to cut a promo against Dan Lambert, the fans started cheering for Dan Lambert at a certain point. And so it's just like that
We got a script for you
stubbornness.
for WWE.
Like
Word for
it's
word, bar for bar.
exactly. It's like that stubbornness of, still wanting to be that face heel like his dad was. But the thing was, when his dad wrestled, it was just strictly you cheer for the face, you cheer for the heel no matter what. And the the heels that they would go against was like really true and very good face heels. Unfortunately, with AEW, their biggest heel is MJF, and there's not really a lot of other heels that really get booed as much as MJF, to where as though no matter who you put against them, they're automatically a face. I mean, look what happened with Brian Pillman Jr. He wasn't really cheered like that. You put him against MJF, suddenly he was over as I don't know what. And so, it's him just being stubborn of wanting to be that baby face like his dad always was. Because I don't think his dad ever was a heel at all during his career. So I think that's probably what Cody was looking towards, for him to be that high paid baby face, pretty much the John Cena kind of AEW. And it's like you can't do that. I mean, even John Cena like took the hate and rolled with it. Like
Right.
at a certain point, like you may not like him, but you respect the heck out of him, because
Can't
he'll
rise
take
above
the
it, huh?
yeah, like he'll take the heat and he'll make a joke out of it. He'll make you laugh and stuff. So it's
Oh
it's
man.
crazy. Like you are 2015 Roman Reigns, so whereas everybody's calling for you to turn heel, you don't want to be heel. You want to be this underdog and stuff. And so
You heal
now it's
now.
just like you go be a heel. Like you go to
Right.
WWE.
Whether you like it or not, it's gonna happen.
Coming back
You
to the
go to
devil himself.
WWE. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
man.
They gonna put you against Montez Ford and you get booed out of there.
Right.
He better be happy Jeff Hardy isn't there. They put him against Jeff Hardy real quick. And
Oh
just
man, first match, roll up.
you better
Immediately.
watch out that they don't put him against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns told him, acknowledge me. I'm the
Right.
tribal chief now.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Where you
If
come
they let
from?
Roman Reigns cut a promo on Cody Rhodes, just let him roll
Oh,
free.
tribal
no.
chief.
Oh,
Him and
I hope
Heyman
it
just letting him have
happens.
it.
I hope
Oh
it
God,
happens.
no.
Let Roman
That's
Reigns
not fair.
loose on him.
You should just forfeit. Cody should just forfeit. Don't even come out there.
Right.
Don't even waste the
Let
tribal chief
Roman
time at
Reigns
that
go
point,
off
bro.
on him.
That's not waste time.
You in my world now.
Right. Oh
You no
man.
longer all elite. I'm the head of the
Oh damn.
people. You're not
He go-
even at my table.
He gonna give him the Thanos bars. He gonna give him the Thanos
Right.
bars.
I'm in God mode now. What are you? You're not even EVP mode right now. Like
Oh shit!
I hope he
yeah.
lets
Oh, man.
go. I really do.
See, that's the thing. I feel like Vince,
Let him
it's
cut
going to be too tempting for Vince to book Cody like that. To parade around. This is the face of AEW he has in
He's
his
gonna
company.
take full advantage of that. You know Vince is gonna do
Like,
that.
Just roasting
I
him.
took
and
one of
roasting
your
him
guys, your
through him.
EVP, your top guy.
Like,
Right.
look what he did with Sting. Sting's first match was
Oh, my
WCW
goodness.
versus
Yep.
WWE. Triple H beat him. Okay,
Mhm.
with DX.
Yeah.
They even told him, we're gonna put NWO with you. We know that you feuded with NWO. We don't care, and we know that half of NWO is friends with Triple H too. We don't care, but you go out there, you do your thing. I mean, we're gonna beat you because
Right.
we beat you guys before, so,
Right.
But now
Who
we
won Monday
finally
Night
got you.
Wars, right.
Instead of putting you over, you putting Triple H over, and then you're also going to put Seth Rollins over. Oh, you hurt your nose? Oh, sorry. You just go sit down somewhere. It's just like I'm going to be very shocked if they book him nicely if he comes over. But this is like I'm sure Vince McMahon's been waiting for this moment ever since AEW's been announced. Like he's like the
Salivate.
first person
Waiting.
that comes
Waiting.
over here.
Like, oh, I know it's gonna happen.
They
I
are going
can't
to
wait.
Come on.
pay. You are going to pay
That dude
for
is
taking
fucked.
Daniel Bryan. They took Daniel Bryan. They took Chris Jericho. They took Jon Moxley. They took Adam Cole. They took Keith
Oh,
Lee.
man.
They took Ruby Soho. Like they tried to get Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Like Cody Rhodes is
Mhm.
going to be Cody Rhodes going to get all the punishment. Okay,
Yeah,
Vince
yeah.
McMahon is going to Vince McMahon's going to look at Cody Rhodes like that child that that you just got because of the divorce. You're going to look like, yo, you're going to pay for
Right.
everything your dad did to
Mhm.
me. You're going to pay for it.
You
Like
took one of the things that I said about your company, that blood and guts, and you turned it into a fucking show. Are you serious?
You made
Like, okay, I'm gonna show you some blood and guts.
Okay, right.
you took my show. I don't even like the show, and you took my show away. I had to
Right.
cancel my own show because of you. Like
Oh man.
y'all took over Wednesdays. I wanted Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I had to settle for Tuesday.
Right.
I didn't even want SmackDown to be on Tuesday. You think I want NXT to be on Tuesday? Like I'll be so surprised if he's booked well. If they let him keep his name.
90
okay?
days.
Oh man.
Cody Rhodes just got his name back because
He just got his name back. That's a great point.
Yup.
He just got it back.
You're Cody again. You are Cody again. Page 19 of the contract says you are Cody again.
Nah, he's gonna be Shorty C. That's what's gonna happen. Like, look, Shorty C. Because Chad gave him that respect, but that Shorty thing, we're gonna give that to you.
We're gonna give that to you. You're gonna be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna be full names. You're gonna be syllables from now on. First wrestler to have syllables as a name. That's what you're gonna be. You make history. You're making history today.
Ain't gonna take a loss.
Shush!
I want to hear that shit. Ready, dub. I'm gonna shush your ass right here. Come with that EVP.
Oh, you want a title?
Out of here.
I got a title for you. You can have it 24/7. How about that?
Oh no! If they put him in that chase, he's back there running. Oh my goodness!
All time low if he's back there running in the fucking Stardust costume.
Oh no! Come on!
That's all time low right there.
Right.
That's all time low.
They won't even let him be dashing. They won't even let him be dashing. No, we're not going to give you. You're not going to be dashing anymore. You had the chance to be dashing over on Wednesdays and Fridays.
I can see
not dashing over here.
Our truth there saying, "Come on, Stardust, let's go!"
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're gonna put you in a tag team with our Truth. You guys gonna be Star Truth. How about that?
Right. Oh, this
my
sounds
gosh.
surreal. This all
Like,
sounds surreal.
Like this is gonna be like Christmas morning.
possible.
Okay, if he comes over the WWE, this is gonna
Let
be
it
like Christmas.
happen.
You are waiting
Your
for
future.
you're waiting for Christmas morning to come so you can see what's gonna happen. Like I cannot wait. I don't know which Vince McMahon we're gonna get. That's the biggest question. Which Vince McMahon we're gonna get? Is Nick Khan gonna get involved? Does Nick Khan know who Cody Rhodes
I
is?
don't think he knows who Cody Rhodes
Does
is.
Nick Khan know
Right?
what
He know his
AEW
dad.
is?
I know he would know his dad. He gotta know his son.
Nick
Yeah.
Khan? I don't
I
think
seen this
so.
interview, man. He got a good background in wrestling. He got a good background.
Yeah, Tony Khan called out Nick Khan too, so it's like Cody better watch out. Like your boss even was talking crap about WWE.
Right. Oh man. Well, hey, more to come on this whole Cody Rhodes situation. I can't wait. Every day now we're gonna be waiting on more and more news. I'm waiting for an interview, something. Cody Rhodes, just tell all podcast.
Renee
Corey
needs to call him.
Graves, yes.
Renee needs to get him on the phone.
Right.
Yeah, like, bring it on. Let's go. I'm ready for it. But speaking of Stone Cold Podcast, so Stone Cold Steve Austin, there are rumors now. This is nothing official, but heavy rumor that the Texas Rattlesnake himself, Devin's favorite wrestler and a wrestler who is on my Mount Rushmore, may be coming back to wrestle or do a match potentially at Wrestlemania. This follows Kevin Owens just talking mad shit about Texas.
Oh, He let him have it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He
I was
you
like,
know
that's
what? I
very
was
random.
lying.
Oh, this is very random.
Right. Just
I'm sitting here like you're not even in Texas right now. Like,
like what is happening? Right.
I'm saying, and I was very confused because I was like, was this Twitter poll only available within the zip codes that's in
I remember seeing his
Texas?
Twitter poll, right?
Yeah, I was like, how do
Haven't
we
seen
know that this was Texas? This could have been New York. This could have been Canada being mad at him for some reason. Like, this could have been any country. This could have been Europe. You know,
Yep.
this could have been South America or something
Oh
like
man.
that said that he was lying. But I was like, okay, you want to attack Texas for some reason? I was like, okay, go ahead and attack Texas. But yeah.
Right. He was going in, but I feel it felt forced given, but on purpose with the news of Stone Cold. I think they're just trying hard to set this up that Kevin Owens is going to do something at WrestleMania, something
Play with my
big.
emotions like that.
Somebody huge from Texas
Play with my
is going to
emotions
come
like
on
that.
out and handle that for Texas. So again, heavy rumor Stone Cold. Now, Devin, yeah, this one is yours, man. No, you said it. You just playing with your emotions. So go ahead, man. Let us know if Stone Cold Steve Austin were to return and wrestle. We've seen him show up. We've seen him, he smacked up Byron,
little stunner there, little stunner here.
Right. So, but to wrestle a match at WrestleMania, potentially with Kevin Owens, where's your mind at, man? What would you do? What would happen?
Mine is blown. My mind is blown, bro. Just the thought of him coming back. Like, I usually don't go in the rumors and none confirmed, but when Kevin Owens just completely shit talking Texas like hard going into I'm like, dude, and I see this rumor about possible Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back for WrestleMania against KO. I'm like, holy shit, don't play with me. Don't play with me. Stunner versus Stunner, that's what we doing. That's how we're gonna do. This is the dude that got me to love wrestling, man. All right? This is the reason why I love wrestling. It's because of this man, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, goddamn it, I do want to see this. It's been 19 years since we haven't seen him wrestle. I want to see the fucking Lou Fast press. I want him to get him ground and pound. You know what I'm saying? I think he can still do that. He's just a brawler, so he can still stay within that wheelhouse. Still look like he's still in good shape too. So
yeah,
he's still in amazing shape. So he can just just do his regular thing. Nothing too fancy, especially KO. I would love to see that, man. It's KO.
Yeah, no, definitely. Jaydee, what about you?
I would love to see the promo versus promo of them too.
Oh
but
my
look,
God.
Vince has the big task of selling out Jerry World twice. Like not once, but he has to sell it out twice. So it's like he is calling everyone. He probably asked Cody, hey, do you want to go and wrestle at WrestleMania, wrestle in front of 100,000 people and Jerry World? Like, you want to do it? Yeah, he is calling everyone. But yeah, I'm very excited of potentially Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling. I mean, we've seen all the returns. We saw Edge come back. Yeah. We saw Bryan Danielson came back a few years ago. We see Lita is back, so we're seeing a lot of the people who originally had to retire from wrestling because of injuries, stuff like that, come back and kind of like give us those what if type of situations. What if Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't get injured? What if he didn't retire? What if, he did this, that, and the third? What if he was wrestling today, who he would wrestle and stuff like that? And so, I mean, even if we won't really get him in a match, they could easily have him host WrestleMania like they did with The Rock and, have him do a bunch of, interactions with different wrestlers and stuff like that. Like they kind of have The Rock. And with the treat this year, it's 2 days. So they can have him host, night one. And if he feels good enough, he can wrestle on night 2 type of situation. Yeah, they pulling out all the stops here because they need to get 100,000 people in the stadium.
200,000 over the weekend. Like,
yep, 200,000 over the weekend, and SmackDown and Raw after Mania and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see it. I'm sure it's going to be a good match anyway. I'm sure Kevin Owens will be over the moon to be wrestling Stone Cold Steve
Oh, man.
Austin.
His 10-year-old self will be giddy, just like
Exactly. Everybody will be giddy, you know. I'm like, I'm ready for
Dude,
promo versus
WrestleMania
promo.
Oh my goodness.
But I am
couldn't
curious.
fathom. Yeah.
I am curious if Stone Cold shows up on a SmackDown and say something to Tribal Chief. Devin,
on.
what are you gonna do?
Come on.
What
You
gonna do?
even gotta put that into existence?
Oh, I
that
thought
that
about
was
it
the
too.
furthest
I
from my
definitely thought about
mind.
that.
That was the furthest from my mind,
That was the
Jaydee.
first
We
thing
was
I-
cool.
That
that's
was
the first
out
thing
at
I
the
thought
top
of.
of my mind.
Dude,
Yeah.
Oh,
you
YouTube
mentioned-
Messiah, you saw it.
Dude, you mentioned that he was your
Oh,
favorite,
Yeah.
and he's coming back. You can't wait. I'm like, yeah, but
man.
I mean, Kevin Owens is only on Raw.
Well, and with The
WrestleMania
Rock,
is Raw
like,
and SmackDown.
we don't know if Rock is gonna even be able to do this thing next year. Like maybe he does, but if he can't, you can start planting the seeds now. With Stone Cold, and
I
Stone Cold versus
I gotta ride with the Tribal Chief, Joe. I gotta ride with the Tribal Chief. In the end, I'm sorry, Stone Cold, you got me love wrestling.
Oh man,
This man right here.
You're looking like Paul Heyman right now, choosing
You
between Brock
are.
and Roman.
You are.
It's not fair. It's not a fair choice.
You are. We'll ask you next
Fair
week.
choice.
We'll see. The answer might change next week. Who knows?
Yeah, it might. Yep, definitely.
Might
Man.
change next week.
It's gonna be fun. It's great to even think about Stone Cold being back, potentially and being in the mix in any capacity. But to see him in a match, like, oh my god, like how fun would that be? So yeah, man, I'm excited for it. So let's see what happens. Let's see. Hopefully he can do it.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up for part 1. Be on the lookout for part 2 along with the After Hours episode as well. Don't forget about that. And you can always find the awesome podcast and the video platform on our website, ClarkStreetWrestling.com, ST for the abbreviation. And don't forget about our merch. We got some great merch for you: beach towels, hoodies, coffee cups, notebooks, even blankets. Yeah, I said it. We got blankets for this winter time up here in the Shire to get all warm and closer to your significant other. So don't forget about it. ClarkStreetWrestling.com/store for your pleasure. It is decided.